Welcome to the Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
I'm Tracy Shapoff. I am a wardrobe stylist in Los Angeles, and I'm from New York, and this is my interview. I went to school for fashion design, and out of college, I designed for a little while and then moved into more corporate fashion of doing trend forecasting, fashion direction for a shoe company. And I knew around that time that I really wanted to be styling. I had briefly worked with a magazine and their styling director, and I loved being on set. So after I was done at the shoe company that I worked for, I decided that I had been in New York City a really long time and I kind of wanted to change. So I moved to Los Angeles and started reaching out to all of these different stylists that I had researched, basically just to see, who I could get in touch with. And I really didn't have that much experience with it yet. And I thought at first I wanted to do television and film wardrobe, and then I very quickly fell into celebrity, and then kind of it just took off from there, I guess. Favorite part of styling are honestly all the different people I get to work with. I get to work with such a wide range of interesting, creative people. And I've been really lucky to actually work with just like very nice, genuine, fun people as well that help me to be creative. So I think it's just kind of great to get the experience around all different people that have come from all different places. It just gives you a really wide view of the world, I guess, and all the different people that you can integrate yourself with. I have, different people that I like for different reasons. I really love working with musicians just because I love music and it's really fun. So I would say more recently, I've worked with the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, and Marilyn Manson, New Kids on the Block. So they were all super fun. New Kids on the Block was the first time I'd ever gotten to actually go to a tour. So that was really fun. I've been lucky to work with people like Elizabeth Banks, who's so much fun, and I've gotten to travel with her. She's great to be around, and I've learned a lot working with her. I've worked with a lot of men and women, so I think I like working with women usually a little bit more, but the men have all been so much fun. So it's kind of all over the place, the people who I've loved working with, just because I think it depends on the job too. Still assisting for certain stylists, which is a lot of the people that I just named. I worked with them like through assisting, and then still obviously growing my business as well, styling on the side, which I've also still worked with some amazing people like Tony Trucks and gotten to do a lot of stuff with her. It's just like fun, different experiences with assisting and kind of having my own clients. It's a really interesting mixture. I think I would have to initially say Diana Ross. I absolutely love Diana Ross. Zendaya, granted, she already has amazing stylists and the most amazing style, but if I was to personally work with her, I would be so grateful because I love her. I think that she's just young and cool and has such like a presence to her that you can be really creative. Rihanna and Harry Styles. There's all people that I personally find to have great personal style already, and that's always the most fun sometimes to work with. Like sometimes it's great to work with someone who just lets you do whatever you want and they go with it, and then other times it's really great to have someone who already has like a really creative personal style and you can collaborate with them. Those people actually just like, they also let you do some fun stuff, but you can really take it to another level. So I had never watched the show prior to applying. I applied myself. It was just a random coincidence. I happened to see the like application or whatever online one day and just kind of went for it. So I got on the show and was genuinely very curious to see if I could actually find love. Like I'm in my 30s and I felt like, it was a new avenue to go down to meet someone. Unfortunately, obviously that didn't happen, but it was such a fun experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, maybe I would have stayed on longer. I would choose that. But no, it was so much fun being there and getting to travel and meet new people and just the experience of being in front of the camera as opposed to behind it, which I'm so used to. That was so much fun to me. And it actually kind of, I think, made me realize that I would love to be in front of the camera more, doing not necessarily like acting or anything, but things like hosting or anything in that realm with fashion, I think has been more of an interest just specifically from coming off the show. Two of the group dates were my favorites. So it's always hard for me to choose between because they were really different. The first one that we went on, we had to stand in front of an audience and tell a story. And I had so much fun doing that. I kind of think I forgot, and I talk a lot. So like, I know that I like talking to people and entertaining, but I'm not used to just standing in front of a microphone and, telling a story in that way. And I had so much fun doing that. It felt natural, I guess. And then the pirate date was also so much fun because I've actually always wanted to do that entire thing, whatever it's called. And it was so much fun. And I got chosen with Kaylin to do like the final like battle, I guess. And honestly, I had the absolute best time doing that. I like couldn't stop smiling the whole time. I also being able to travel to Singapore. I hadn't been to Asia yet. And I was so excited to go there because I love traveling. I've been a lot of places in Europe and a couple other countries. And I've really never had the chance to go there yet. So I was really, really fortunate to be able to travel there, even if, obviously we were on dates and like couldn't really just go around the city on our own. It was still such a great experience to be able to go there. Still really close with a lot of the girls. Didn't know, because again, I hadn't watched the show. Like prior to going on, I binged like a season or two really quick just to get an idea, but I didn't know anything about the show. So I didn't really know how all of the girls or the men or whatever, they create these friendships afterwards. And you see them, on social media and different places hanging out together and stuff. I hadn't like gone that deep into researching it prior. So I had no idea that that's kind of how everyone usually comes off the show. And I like to think that I make friends pretty easily. So that was, great, obviously, to get that out of it. But yeah, it's fun. You get new experiences with new people. There's always your whole life, there's different ways that you meet people. And this is, I would say, probably the most interesting I've been able to say that I've created some great friends from. So yeah. Elise and Anyeka, I definitely are two of my closest friends from the show. We have, our little group chat that we're constantly checking up on each other and giving little things happening with our lives. And a lot of the girls, honestly, I could keep going, but yeah, I talk to them the most, I would say. Go for it. You literally have nothing to lose. Either the worst they can say is like, no, you're not on it, or the best, you go on. There is no way to prepare for it mentally. I thought that I was mentally prepared and I was not whatsoever. If I could go back and do it again, I would definitely think I would try to do a couple of things different or prepare myself better. But it is such a fun experience, and that is not something that most people can say that they've done. Obviously it's been on for a lot of seasons, but in the grand scheme of things, there's so many people applying for this show and the very few that are getting chosen. It's a fun, lucky, crazy experience. It maybe messes with you a little bit, but there are not that many people that can say that they did this. So I feel like if it's something that you're looking for love and looking to meet people and anything like that, like go for it. You have nothing to lose. I'm just someone that likes to I'm a bit impulsive and I love new experiences and I love any reason to have a new story also. And I love telling people stories. So I just think it's such a cool opportunity to have this, in your repertoire of things that you can tell people and tell your kids and tell your friends and your family that you've done. And who knows what will come out of it. There's so many different great opportunities that can come out of it as well. It has affected my job a lot. I was on set actually back in early March. I was working with another stylist with Marilyn Manson, and things were just starting to pick up. You started hearing more every day about it, but we still didn't really know how serious it was. And I had a trip planned to go to Boston. And all of a sudden things, daily just seemed like they were getting more and more serious. And my sister was like, I'm afraid you're not going to get out on your flight. Like, it might get canceled. And we were on set one day to do either a shoot or for his music video. I can't remember now. And we got everything set up. And I was like, I'm nervous. I'm not going to get out, I think. And they were like, you guys can go. You don't need to be here. We don't want that many people on set. And I left immediately, changed my flight, and flew to Boston. And I was only supposed to be there originally for a couple days. It ended up getting extended to 2 weeks, to the point that I fully canceled my return flight and was just there indefinitely with the guy I was dating and my sister. And I was there for 3 months. I didn't know, I didn't feel comfortable flying back. There was no reason for me to come back because everyone's work had been canceled. And there was nothing, like there was no end in sight. So I did one virtual styling job for Demi's boyfriend, actually, ex-boyfriend, who's a musician. He was doing a music video, or a couple of music videos at his home. So I did a full virtual styling session with him. And other than that, there was no work. And I was trying to figure out what I could do, if I could do virtual closet cleanouts with people, anything. And I think everyone was just so confused. Nobody knew. And, obviously people also maybe weren't working, so they can't spend money. But from a celebrity styling standpoint, there was nothing. Every single job that anyone had coming up was to be canceled. And I was supposed to do a lot of really fun jobs this summer for musicians, and concerts were canceled, tours are canceled, couldn't do music video shoots, anything like that. And then acting standpoint, all of the shows are canceled. So then there's no red carpets. There's no events that they can attend. Everything turns virtual, which obviously still people need to be styled a little bit virtually, but there was no end in sight. So finally I came back after 4 months of being away. And I think the day after I booked my flight to come back, I was reached out to do a campaign shoot for a company that makes cases for cell phones. And it was just going to be a 1-day shoot. It was very minimal people on set, everything. I was kind of nervous because I didn't really know what I was walking into, obviously. And so I accepted the job, got back, immediately prepped for that. And thankfully stores were open at that point because I needed to shop for it. And then the stores closed the next day. But I got everything I needed basically for the shoot. Wore a mask and a shield basically almost the entire time. It was just myself and the makeup artist in an empty apartment, basically downtown, on opposite sides of the apartment. And we didn't go out onto the street with them to shoot. They had it very minimal. There were 5 or 6 models, and we just kept changing them. Everyone was scheduled very staggered so that nobody could overlap. But it was an interesting experience to be able to kind of dip my toes back into what we're going to be dealing with now in the future, unfortunately. But it was good to figure that out on a pretty easy flowing set. But other than that, there isn't much happening from a standpoint of red carpets and everything. So it's tricky. But in the meantime, at least I also was able to find another job of sorts. So one of my friends manages a store. Who is I right now to pass up a job? I figured I could also meet some people who maybe need some personal styling. So it is what it is. I'm surviving. It's okay. I don't know anything right now. I mean, I'm hoping obviously that soon the talent that I get to work with starts rolling again with things so I can get back to working with them and, continuing to just build my own personal clientele and, finding new avenues and ways to do things. Like I said, I would love to start working, doing some form of like hosting with fashion or anything in that realm is very interesting and intriguing to me. So I'm always kind of looking for new opportunities that I can bring in the different careers that I've already done and merge them together in a way that is just, I don't know, it's fun for me because I like something new. I get restless pretty easily. So, I like any new opportunity. And if that's in LA or in Europe, if we can ever go back, or back in New York, I have no idea. So I'm always just kind of ready for the next thing, whatever that may be. My social media is just at Tracy Shapoff, Shapoff, just as it sounds. People try to make it a little harder than it is. And then my website is just at format. So basically Tracy Shapoff format. And then I actually just started another Instagram just to try to sell stuff from my closet because I have an absurd amount of stuff that I was trying to get rid of once I finally got back here and did a massive clean out. So I've been posting stuff on there too, just to like sell it and get rid of it. It's like donating and selling and just refreshing myself, I guess.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.